Hi guys, the Metal Maniac back again, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the album Rather Death Than False Faith by the band Hydra. This band, apparently they're still active but have only ever released 2 albums, and this is their debut album. So, first, before I get into the songs, I'm going to name off the band members really quick. Damon Madison on bass guitar, Nathan Madison on drums, Mike Keane on lead vocals, and Danny Roger on guitars and Stefan on guitars. Now, the thing that's odd about these credits, I guess half of them are for the actual songs on the album, and half of them are for the bonus tracks, which are part of a demo, which I believe at that point the band had a slightly different lineup. So that's why there are multiple, a little bit more band member credits than there usually would be on an album. Anyway, so the album starts off with the song Rabid, and right away, it's very, very bland, very forgettable, and yeah, not quite the best way to start off an album. It just feels like a very generic, bland thrash metal song. But yeah. And the next song after that, Crucifier, is pretty much the exact same thing. Very bland, very generic, very forgettable. So yeah, honestly, they're not terrible songs, they're just kind of bland and forgettable. But the album does pick up after that, because the next song is called The House, and it is actually my second favorite song on here. It just has a really good, very sinister riff to it. It's a heavy heavy chugging but very catchy riff, and it's just a really good main riff that goes along very well with kind of the sinister but catchy chorus of the song, and it has a pretty good guitar solo in it as well. The next song is called The Right to Die, another great one. This one also kind of has that sort of like same style of like very catchy riff. Maybe not as catchy much in terms of the chorus, but it's still a good song and it has a very well put together guitar solo. The next song is called Rather Death Than False Faith, which is the name of the album. And right away, Side 2 is so much better than Side 1. Yeah, sure, on Side 1 you have The House and The Right to Die, but Side 2, going through this, I'll tell you, you'll see why Side 2 is so much better than Side 1. Yeah, the title track is amazing. It's definitely one of the faster songs on here. It also has a very cool sort of like, oh no, sorry, I'm thinking of the other song. Sorry, I need to go back to the previous song really quickly, because I did forget to mention something. With the song The Right to Die, honestly, it kind of reminds me of a song from, like, the First Testament album, The Legacy, mainly due to the opening riff. It's very sort of mellow and kind of melodic, which kind of reminds me of like, certain moments on certain songs from the First Testament album. Anyway, back to the title track. The title track is just a very cool, just a very head-banging, riffy, fast thrash metal song with a great solo. But yeah, I absolutely love it. Alright, the next one is called Misanthropic. I'd say this is probably my third or fourth favorite song on here. Just a very sort of like it has a bit more, I guess, melody to it than most of the other ones. Most of the other ones are pretty straightforward. Straightforward thrash metal, kind of just riffing fast, but very catchy and enjoyable. This one is kind of like that, but it is definitely has a bit more, I guess, melody to it. It's a bit more, I guess, thought out. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it very well, but it is a good song and kind of a sort of like unexpected but welcome change in sort of the pacing. Anyway, the next song is my favorite song on here. Yeah, the house and this song are probably tied as my favorite, and that is the song Harlequin. This is the most catchy, just great song on here. Like, the chorus is super catchy. It is super memorable, catchy guitar riff. And it is probably my favorite solo of the entire album. But yeah, Harley Quinn is just really, really good. And then the album ends with Guillotine. And this, I think, is actually one of, if not the shortest song on here. It's definitely a great way to end the album. It kind of, it's very, it's a weird ending, a weird choice for the ending track, but also it works. Like, it's nothing epic, it's nothing, like, very, it's nothing very epic or anything, but it is definitely, it feels like it should have, it feels like it should be the ending track. Like, there are other tracks like that on other albums where the closing track, even though it's not, like, epic or grand or anything, it still fits as the closing track, and this is kind of like that. Anyway, so I would go into the bonus tracks, but they're pretty much just a repeat of the songs that are already on the main track listing. The bonus tracks are basically part of their first demo. And yeah, I mean, they're good, but like I said, it's just the bonus tracks are like from the early demo. But again, I'm not gonna go into them because they're pretty much a repeat of songs that I already talked about. All right, so first I'm gonna get into the artwork, then my overall thoughts. So the artwork is actually really, really cool. Not the most detailed of any artwork. It is definitely a lot more simplistic. Of course, you get the what I guess is their mascot. It's like this weird sort of like Medusa Grim Reaper type thing. And then of course you get the name of the album here, the name of the band in this really cool, kind of unique font. And then now, like I said, it's very simplistic, so the background is, you can tell what it is. It's a city on fire, but like I said, it's kind of just, it's simplistic to the point where they're basically just featureless silhouettes, kinda. And you can see the fire there too, but it's very simplistic. Yeah, I mean, their artwork would definitely, like, the artwork for their stuff would definitely improve later on with their second album. But yeah, it's not bad. It's not great, but it's not bad. It's just, it's decent, you know. Perhaps they were on, like, a budget, so they couldn't afford really grand artwork, which is fine. Actually, this does open up into a gatefold, and, you got pictures of the band there, and then the lyrics to the songs, and then on the other side it is basically just information on the band and this album and stuff. And yeah, there are two vinyls. One's for the main track listing and one is for the bonus tracks. Both are colored vinyl and they're both the exact same color. And both vinyls, I'm only going to pull one out because, again, they're both the same color. But they come on the album comes on this really cool colored vinyl. It's like a very harsh hot pink color, which hot pink kind of works very well considering that the background of the artwork is pretty more or less around the same color as the vinyl. So my overall thoughts on here, honestly, like I said, I was kind of surprised that the first half is actually pretty weak. Yeah, sure, you get two songs that are, The House, which is one of my favorites, and then, The Right to Die, which is also pretty good, but, compared to the second half, the first half is just very lacking. Like I said, you start off with two really, forgettable songs, Rabbit and Crucifier. Yeah, sure, the second part, the last two songs inside one are good, but it just is kind of anticlimactic in a way. Like, you would think the first and second halves would be great, but the first half is kind of like, here's the thing, I played the entire album before before recording this, and honestly, that's literally the only time, I've listened to this album like at least 5 or 6 times since I got it, and yeah, this is probably the last time I'm going to listen to the full side of side 1. After this, I'm going to probably just, if I want to listen to side 1, I'm just going to listen to the last 2 songs on it, like I said, because the other songs are pretty forgettable. As for side 2, it definitely is the album's strong point. Literally every song on side 2 is amazing. Now, of course, there will be albums that have great songs on both side 1 and side 2, but there's also albums that are only strong on one side, which is like this album. And as for the overall production and sound mixing, it's very inconsistent. Like, the production on this is super raw. Even more raw than like the first Slayer album, which is surprising. Because the Slayer album, the first one, Show No Mercy, was 83, and this is 88. This was released in 1988, yet it doesn't sound like that. It sounds like it was released in 83, or sometime in the early 80s. So, maybe not musical-wise, but production and sound mixing-wise, this album sounds a lot older than it actually is. Yeah, sure, obviously they didn't have that big of a budget, but even with a small, like I said, Slayer, Show No Mercy, they had a really tight budget, but they were able to make it work, but again, I don't know if it was actually the overall production, but it sounds more like just the mixing. Like, the mixing, whoever mixed this album did not do a good job. The first half sounds it's okay. The first half, in terms of mixing, it sounds okay. But the second half is definitely a lot better. It's weird, because the second half, the mixing is actually a lot better. So, I don't know what went on. It says here, recorded and mixed at Blue Box Studios. So whoever did the mixing did a pretty bad and inconsistent job, because again, it fluctuates between very okay production and sound mixing to actually very good production and sound mixing. Also, the music on this album kind of sounds like a mix of mid to late 80s Slayer and the first 2 Testament albums. It's sort of that kind of like fusion of those 2 different styles. And the vocals actually very much remind me of Tom Araya. Like, yeah, sure, they don't, what's his name again? Mike Keane doesn't hit any high notes, but in terms of how he sounds definitely a lot like Tom Araya. Sort of his like mid-range gruff vocals, and yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised that this kind of it kind of reminds me of like, again, if mid to late 80s Slayer and the first two Testament albums were combined, it kind of sounds like that. Yeah, so overall, a decent start to their career. Like I said, the second half is definitely a lot better than the first half in like multiple different ways. I'm gonna give this a 7.3 out of 10. I would have given it a little bit higher if the excuse me. Like I said, I would have given this album a little higher rating if first off the first half wasn't mostly boring, and if the first half actually had good sound mixing. But yeah, as it is, pretty decent album to start off their career, and yeah, it's a 7.3 out of 10. Alright, so that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you all next time.